So, all right. So let's begin. What are we going to get covered this meeting? So this meeting is going to be all about what's going on our trip, what's included, the travel partner of World Strides, and I'll talk a little bit about them and how to sign up, because I know that's super important for families to know those things. This is a Boston trip. It does say New York City, but I'm going to attach that link because the video doesn't do justice when we show it online. So I will send that link out tomorrow. I'm going to have the science teachers from Rogers as well as Hayes send it out with a YouTube link of this entire meeting, the Google form one more time, as well as the link to the website that'll show you this video. So when I said that this is a all-inclusive experience, it really is. The only thing it does not include is souvenirs and extra snacks. The entirety of the payment covers transportation, which means airplane tickets from Dallas Love or DFW, depending on where our flight's going to go, all the way out to Boston. If we get enough participants to go, if we get about 35 people going, we get a charter bus that'll meet us at Rushing Middle School. And then from there, it'll take us to the airport, which makes it easier for parents. They'll also pick us up at the airport and bring us back to the school. So it's so much more easy when we have that many more travelers going with us. To give you background, our first trip that we did this with Prosper ISD, we had 24 students go, and we went right in the middle of the pandemic, and World Strides accommodated for every aspect of that. This last year when we went, we did the South Florida Adventure for Marine Biology. We had 42 participants go, and we got qualified for the charter bus. And so they picked us up at school, took us to the airport. And when we got back, they picked us up and took us back here. Made everything so much easier. This year for our trip to Orlando, we have a total of 82 people going. So the trip keeps getting bigger and bigger, and so it's more exciting every single time. Once we actually land, we get included all our hotel accommodations, so all 3 nights at a hotel. We get transportation to and from our destination, which means we get a charter bus while we're in Boston that will take us to all our locations, back to the hotel, and everywhere we need to get to. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner are all included. We get attractions and activities, which means that any place that requires a payment for an entry ticket or anything like that, that's included with your price of admission on your actual fees with World Strides. We also get a course leader, and that course leader is in charge of making sure that when we check in, all the hotel rooms are adequate and acceptable for our standards. Bus driver is ready to go, making sure we have all our tickets to wherever we need to go, has knowledgeable experience about the Boston area or wherever we're at, to make sure the kids get a great understanding of what they're doing educationally and everything else that they could ask about. 90% of the time, that bus driver is filling these kids' heads with knowledge. It is amazing what they know. They get academic credit. That's always a possibility. It's more geared towards high school. So if we have any 8th graders that go on the trip that are going to go into high school, they can look into possibility for credit for that. And they get these little discovery journals where they can write down information, gain new knowledge. They have little games that they can kind of do, scavenger hunts and things like that while we're out and about. It also includes safety and support. Now, that is my concern number one, is safety and support. At night, what ends up happening is when we check in and we get all the kids at their curfew time, World Strides provides a background check security guard. And that security guard's job is just to make sure they go down the hallways, back and forth, make sure no kids decide they want to go out in the middle of the night, no one goes into their rooms, and makes sure that the kids aren't going crazy. Now, kids at this age, they don't go crazy, but with a certain amount of freedom, they enjoy themselves. And that's totally fine as long as they're not disrespectful or disruptive to other rooms or their other roommates. 2 things I will mention when it comes to meals. One of the things on the meals is World Strides accommodates for every aspect of the meals. So if your child happens to be a vegetarian, then World Strides finds a way to make sure there's accommodations for that. If your child has any allergies to nuts or broccoli as I tell my wife that I have an allergy to broccoli. They accommodate and make sure that those things are accommodated for your child, so that way they are included with everything as well. So there is no shortage of requests to say, hey, my child has this, or this is their concern. They take care of all of that. They also provide medical support. They have doctors on staff 24 hours a day. I would say 7 days a week, but we're not there for 7 days. When we look at that factor, if a kid gets sick on the trip, catches a cold, gets a sinus infection, or whatever could happen, we call World Strides line. They get the student in charge with a doctor. They go ahead and do all of it over the phone, take care of everything. We contact parents, make sure everything's good. And then through the correlation, if antibiotics or anything needs to be prescribed, parents approve, take care of it, and it's all taken care of in that route. In this time, I've never actually had anybody have to use the doctor, but it's there if we need it, okay? That is everything that's included, and it is more so than you can actually think of, and it's fascinating. One of the things that I love about what World Strides does is when I give them the reports after our trips, they truly listen. They come back and step it up a notch. Like I said, they raise the bar every single time. One of the first trips we did, we were at Universal, and we were doing a physics program there, and World Strides, they listened to our report. Had one student say, hey, Mr. Westfall, I would have given you guys a 10 out of 10 for this trip, but I had to spend a lot of money on water because it was so hot. So I told World Strides this, and they said, hey, you know what? How about we get you guys on your next trip? We have coolers of water just filled at all time. So that way, if a kid needs water, they can grab 2-3 bottles at a time, whatever they need. If they want to fill up a giant water bottle, fantastic. They're going to have access to it because we don't want them spending money on water. We want them spending money on what they want to do. So Boston should not be too hot. It should be very comfortable during that time. But if there's water needed, World Strides will provide that water and just the little things like that. So they're a great company to work with on that. So let's get to the most important part, which is what your child gets to do. I've broken up the itinerary on what you see on screen. I'm going to talk about when we're going to go do those kind of things. But literally, we leave on June 2nd, and we fly into Boston. And as soon as we land, we will have lunch. And then right after that, we're going to do a duck boat tour. So this little picture right here, we're going to get all the kids in multiple sets of these duck boats. And they're going to get a great guided tour of the river, the city of Boston, on the road, all throughout the whole area of the city of Boston. And they're going to get a guided tour of that, which is fantastic. Once we get done with that, which should be about 3 hours, we're going to go ahead and come back. We're going to have dinner. Then after dinner, we're going to get checked into our hotel. And that evening will probably be the only night they have, probably an early night to just relax, or they can go swimming, take care of their needs on that one. I know for myself, as I get older, traveling for that much wears me out. So I'm not a late night type of person, but kids are kids. They find energy in every different way. So they'll have that availability, and that'll probably be the only night. The next day is when it starts going full speed from breakfast all the way past dinner. We wake up, and the first thing we do is have breakfast at the hotel. Then we head over to Fenway Park. And at Fenway Park, we get a guided tour of Fenway Park, one of the most iconic baseball stadiums in the country. They're going to take us on top of the garden and show us all about how STEM science works at that stadium, and give us a tour of everything around that and tell us about what occurs that structurally with science, architecturally, all the wonderful things. And that's a fantastic thing overall. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge baseball fan, but just to be in an iconic area of that is fantastic for me. So that's the entire morning of just actual day 2. From that, we go have lunch. And then after that, we're going to go to the Museum of Science, which is the next slide. I'm going to go ahead and pop over to that next slide right here. And so we're going to go to a Museum of Science for about like 3 hours. And then really close to that, after that, we're going to go to the aquarium, the New England Aquarium, and they're going to be able to see that for about 3 hours. So within a span of lunch to dinner, they're going to hit up a museum and an aquarium that are very unique to those areas, okay? Then we're going to hit dinner. And then after dinner, we don't stop there. We're going to go to Quincy Market, which is right next to the Freedom Trail. This is where they're going to be able to tour, see vendors. And if your kids like me, I like after dinner dessert. So I'll be getting a couple snacks there, touring around, just seeing the rich history of Boston and seeing how all of that goes right there. So that's going to do that. And then we'll come back. We'll check into the hotel. We'll get them checked in, make sure they're all ready to go. Everyone's where they need to be. And then we will end up, that's the end of just day 2. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 different things to do in just one day, which is a lot to do, but they're going to love every aspect of it. Day 3, that is when we get to do an experience that's amazing. They're going to start the morning off doing whale watching, which in that time of the year is going to be amazing to be able to see. So we'll start that off in the entire morning. Since we will be on a boat, if your kid gets motion sickness, let's make sure we get them packed with some Dramamine or anything that helps them out. I'm not a big fan of boats in the sense of like staying happy and healthy. So I always take Dramamine. That's just me though. After lunch, we go ahead and head to the Franklin Park Zoo. At the zoo, they're going to actually do a quick workshop with actual zoo employees on different ways on how they accommodate for different animals, what they do there, and what kind of unique animals they have at the zoo that are compared to other zoos in the area. So that's a fun thing for them to do. After that, we have dinner. And then after dinner, we're going to go to this place called Boat Aboard, which is an escape room. And interestingly enough, when I asked them, I was like, wow, that's kind of different. And they're like, oh, just be prepared. Every group that goes there has loved it. And it is a good challenge for the kids to be thinking on that one. And so fantastic way for the kids to continue their thinking and challenge them as well. And I like escape rooms. I don't get them all the time, but you know what? I like the challenge. It's fun. And the kids are going to love it too. So that ends day 3. Day 4 is fully packed too. So day 4 is probably one of the most geeky things for me to do. We're going to start off after breakfast and we're going to head over to MIT. And we're going to get a tour of the campus and different labs and see what PhD students are doing, PhD graduates, and what they do at that campus. And I'm a big nerd, y'all, and I love that kind of stuff. I could tour all the campuses there, like Harvard and MIT, just all day, all night. That just would be fun. So we're going to do that until about lunchtime. And then after lunch, we're going to come back and regroup together. And the MIT faculty are going to give us a robotics workshop on coding and working with drones and how that can be programmed, and helicopters as well. So they're going to come in and teach us just as much as we see what they've done in actual labs of MIT. So once we get done with that, we have a late night flight. And when I say late night, it's about 5 o'clock, which means 5:30-ish. We get in probably 8:30, maybe at the latest 9, depending on how everything flows. No delays or whatever. If we have enough people, we'll have our charter bus. Charter bus will have us come in. You pick up your kids at the school, which is a lot. Like, I cannot emphasize that enough. I've just gone through 4 days worth of material very quickly, and I apologize if I talk too fast. But the great thing is I'm recording this. I'll send it out. I'm going to send out all the links and everything for you guys to see it. Okay. When we look at this, the most important thing after all these wonderful experiences, you're wondering, how much does it cost? How do we sign up? How does everything work? What ends up happening is, here is the trip details. The total cost of the trip with a $100 discount, if you register by March 10th, is $1,899. That's for quad occupancy. That is 4 kids to a room, no more. There are very rare times where we do have 3 kids to a room, but I can never guarantee that. We're going to guarantee 4 at the most. 4 girls in a room or 4 boys in a room. There's no cohabitating at all. When we look at that, there's also a discount if you happen to be a teacher or a spouse to a teacher, in the military, former military, first responder, which includes nurses, medics, fire department. You get a 5% discount off that trip. So when we look at that, that brings down the price from $1,899 down to $1,804, which is a great discount. So the only thing you have to do is just sign up with a $49 deposit. Now, If you're on the fence, you're like, I like the sound of this, but I'm not sure because it's over a year away. Sign your child up for $49. Don't make payments. Just sign them up, get that spot reserved so that way you get your spot. You can make payments as you progress. I always start these presentations with sixth graders very early on, just because I've done this trip with my daughter, not this Boston one, but a trip with World Strides with my daughter. And as a teacher, it's a fantastic way to go ahead and break up the payments as much as possible. So you will have essentially 12 months minimum to break the payments up monthly if you want. If you get closer and you haven't made any payments, you're like, wow, I want this to happen, but cutting into March, it's going to be close. Guarantee y'all, call World Strides, let them know, hey, can I extend the payments past March? Absolutely. They've done that. I've had at least 5 families that World Strides has done that for, just because they want your kids to have that experience and not miss out just because payments are getting close, because y'all, I know finances at times happen. If you sign your child up and you're like, you know what, sometimes the trip pops up right at the same time and I have to cancel, there is a full refund protection program, which costs $250. What that does is to $250 plus the registration deposit of $49 for $300 total, allows you to cancel at any time and get everything back except for that $300, the refund protection plan, as well as deposit, and allows you to just say, okay, we're done. We're going to go ahead and take our money back except for that part. And we found another trip that we're going to do. If you're ever on the fence, I would highly suggest using that. I've had families that literally had to cancel 2 days before the trip and lost all the money because they didn't sign up for that. So that is an added piece of security that allows you to have that. But if you're like, hey, Mr. Westfall, we know our kids loving this idea of this trip, and we want them to go. We've heard great things about other trips. We want to sign up. Don't need to worry about it. Awesome. Fantastic. That's all on you guys. I'm fully supportive of that. So when you look at that, registration deadline is not until a long time now. I mean, we can register all the way, but to register to get the $100 discount to get you at the price of $18.99, have to register before March 10th. So just like I said, if you're not sure, but you're kind of leaning towards it, go ahead and sign up, get that deposit, but don't make any payments just in case. That's the key thing. From there, what we're looking at is just literally, there's 2 easy ways to sign up. Third way is just contact me and I can help you through the process. Is you can go online to worldstrides.com/register. And if you're at Rogers Middle School, this code is 207977. If you're at Hayes, it's 207979. In the end of the day, when we're on a trip, it doesn't matter which middle school. We're all Prosper. We're all one. But for their logistics, they like to make sure they keep track of which school has their students and making sure we do that thing. When we go, we have a teacher chaperone ratio of 10-1. So we have 10 students per 1 teacher chaperone, and it's worked marvelously for all the years I've done this. Parents are totally welcome to go. Parents, if you're like, ooh, Boston sounds good, then you are more than welcome to go as yourself. The only difference, though, is it's the same cost as a student plus another additional fee. It is an extra, I think, $250. And that gets you a double occupancy room. So you and another parent would room together. But if that's something that you're interested in, you're not sure, and you want more information, just let me know. I can help you through that process. I'm a talker, obviously, because that's like what I love to do. I talk to people. You can also call 1-800-468-5899 and talk to a World Strides representative, and they can walk you through the process of signing up. I like that process better than signing up online. There's 2 reasons why. One, if you are in need of financial assistance, they can guide you through that process. World Strides has a large sum of money that they use for financial assistance. All you have to do is apply, let them know some information. I've had students get anywhere from $500 to $750 towards their trip based off financial need. And World Strides absolutely wants to help everyone go on this trip. So that's always an option right there. Secondly, it allows you to figure out how you want to do your payments, make it much easier on yourself. It just gives you the added assurance of talking to someone about what you're signing up for your child. Outside of that, that is the information I've looked at and talked about. There is all sorts of information I can always answer. I can give you examples from different trips, but the most important thing is if you came in a little late and you didn't get part of the presentation, please use this bit.ly at the very bottom, the bit.ly/2024RH Boston Science Trip, all one word, all lowercase. Type that into a new address bar, and that'll set you to a Google form, so that way you can ask a question there. But what I will do is, because I will absolutely stay on this line for as much needed, because I have nowhere else to go. I've already had dinner, and I'm here with you. But I will definitely answer questions if people would like to ask questions about anything that could be concerning or anything about the trip. So let's fire away, folks. How can I help you? Oh, sounds like my classroom sometimes. It's all quiet. Oh, Perla Rocha, you have a question? Go for it, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if it's open to sixth graders. My niece will be a sixth grader at Rogers next year, and so I just wanted to see if she would be.
So usually I don't open it up to it, because the way the trip works is me presenting to sixth graders right now. They'll be, when they finish and get ready to go on a trip, they'll be either finishing seventh grade or finishing eighth grade. I do make exceptions depending upon if they have family members going on the trip as well. Now, if that's the case, then I do make exceptions, so that way they have someone they know, because usually if I let one sixth grader go on, then all of a sudden they don't know anybody, and it gets a little bit more difficult for them. And then usually what ends up happening is I give the kids within parameters time to go explore different areas. So like when we go to the museum or we're at the aquarium, we let them go in groups, and I want to make sure they feel super comfortable and confident going on that. I usually don't, but if there's the exception on that, it just depends on how the family structures it, though.
Thank you.
What else can I do for you? How else can I help? Absolutely. The question was, can you request a roommate if a friend is coming? Absolutely. So what I do is when we get closer to having everybody signed up and all final payments are done, I send out a form that says, here's all the kids going on the trip. From that, you get guaranteed one person on your list that's going to be your roommate. If all these people start requesting the same people, then 4 people get to room together. But they're guaranteed one person that they are put on their list. So just because not everybody's got a friend on the trip, but I have so many rooms that are so perfectly balancing out. It's all working out, and then I'm just waiting for something to happen. But yes, they absolutely can request a room with a friend. Absolutely. What else can I answer, folks? I am here. I have many answers, and what I don't know, I can always contact World Strides and get back to you about that. It's all quiet. Okay, then. All right, then. So if no one else has any questions, then we're going to go ahead and finish off. But I appreciate you guys coming out and listening to me speak for, well, almost 30 minutes. It goes fast for me. But if you have any questions, please fill out the Google form or just email me. Expect an email from your teachers, your kid's science teacher, that gives you the whole presentation and gives you also information on different links on how to sign up if you feel inclined to. So thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it so much. And you have a good weekend and stay safe with that weather.